Hey, it's Jordan, the Millionaire Millennial. Welcome back to this series on how to make a software as a service. And what we're going to be talking about today is market selection. Okay, so if you haven't watched the first video, go back and watch it. It's the basics, all right, kind of stuff that you need to know before you actually start even working on a SaaS at all. You need to know these things. Make sure that you understand that stuff before we move into this next video, which we're going to be talking about, again, market selection. So market selection is something that most people don't spend a lot of time on. They kind of just see something or they have an idea and then they just roll with it, they just go with it. But the reality is this step, market selection, is probably the most important step, or at least really close to being the most important step, because it's something that if you do this step right, then everything else kind of falls into place correctly. So, you want to make sure from the get-go, right out the gate, that you're doing things the right way. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention here and making sure that you're implementing the stuff that we talk about throughout this video. So first off, building a software as a service is not about a product, right? It's not about building a product. It's about finding a market and then serving that market in particular. Now, I get that may be kind of vague, so I'm going to give you a lot of good examples about softwares that have done exactly that, including myself. And so, the first example I'll go with is myself, the SaaS that I built, which is Atlas. So the market is Amazon FBA and other people that are selling on Amazon. They need all sorts of different tools and softwares and different things, but I singled out one particular thing that I liked. So that was the market that I found. And I didn't make the product first and then go try to find the market. I found the market because I was already in it. And then I was able to find the product, or build a product rather, around that market to serve the people in that market. So some other examples are Shopify, right? People make all sorts of Shopify plugins and they charge monthly for them. Those are technically softwares as services, okay? So that's another great example. Another great one is Flexport. That's actually a logistics company that brought software into the world of importing and exporting goods. It's something that's really cool and something that I found a long time ago, and I'll give you a little more detail on what they did and how they were able to become successful because of focusing on market selection. Another market is the finance and budgeting market, something that I know a lot about, something that I'm very involved in, and I actually have some ideas for a SaaS that I might want to build in the near future that I'll share with you. And if you happen to beat me to it, then good for you. If not, then I'll probably build it. And the last example I want to give you is actually in the health and wellness niche. It's a software, it's actually an app for the phone that's called MyFitnessPal. The creator of MyFitnessPal actually sold his app to Under Armour just a few years ago for quite a sum of money. So that's an example of someone taking a SaaS and going all the way through, all the way to exiting. So once you've found a market that either you know about or at least you're interested in, you need to dive really deep into that market. So you need to be doing a lot of research. You need to be joining groups, joining forums, Facebook, reaching out to people, following people that are kind of the leaders in that group or market, and just really getting a solid understanding of how everything works. Because in order to make a software that serves that market, you have to understand the pain points of the market. And there's a lot of different ways that you can sell any kinds of products, really. But one really important, and I would argue probably the easiest way to sell anything, is to sell it based on the pain that someone's having or an issue that they're having that your product solves. So you just need to find a pain point in a market and then create a product, a SaaS, that heals that pain. So following up on the examples I gave earlier, a big pain point in Amazon FBA was not being able to find enough products to sell, right? Not being able to find enough profitable products that you could actually make money selling on Amazon. So that was a big pain point, finding products. The pain point in Shopify was lack of customization, right? Shopify gives you a template and they're like, here you go, and your store looks the same as everybody else's. And so a lot of people started making plugins that allow you to customize your site, and that alleviated the pain point of your site looking like everybody else's, right? Not having anything unique. And so these different plugins added all sorts of different functionality that you didn't get with Shopify out of the box. Now with Flexport, the pain point in logistics and importing exporting was, well, it's incredibly complicated. And so they were able to take a relatively complex system and make it really easy to use. I mean, I use Flexport for importing and exporting any goods that I ever want to import and export, because it's so simple. You sign up and then you fill out a page worth of information and then you're good to go. And so they brought software into a market that was experiencing a lot of pain due to complexity, and they actually resolved that by making it less complicated. So for the finance and budgeting niche, there's a lot of different pain points, but one that I kind of think of is a pretty bad one that I experience is not having some sort of software that will automatically rebalance your portfolio. So if you know of any software that does that, please let me know in the comments or shoot me a DM, because I've been looking for something that I can just put in percentages of whatever I want to invest in, and it automatically rebalances that every month or whatever. So that's actually an idea that I've been thinking about building myself, because I think that would actually help a lot of people out as far as, wanting to have their portfolios diversified into certain sections. And obviously the pain point in healthy living and wellness when it comes to tracking your calories is actually tracking your calories, right? It's a lot of hard work if you don't have an app that you can just scan the food and it tells you exactly what calories are in it. So MyFitnessPal, if you don't know what that is, it's exactly that. Basically, you can just scan food and then it counts the calories for you. That's something that would normally be very monotonous and annoying to have to do manually. And so they were able to, again, take something that's annoying or obnoxious or painful and resolve that. They were able to heal that pain. And again, they sold to Under Armour for a substantial sum of money after they built their app. Another pain point that you might overlook, and a lot of people overlook, is you might look into a market and see, oh, there's a lot of tools that already exist in this market, so I probably shouldn't make any more tools. Well, the reality is maybe you should, because odds are those tools have a lot of things that are unneeded in their tool suite. For example, you have massive tools like HubSpot that have just a ton of stuff, but most people don't need all of those different things. They just need one aspect of that whole software. So it's like, why would I pay for the whole suite when I just need one thing? So what you can actually do is you can look at software that already exists and say, what are the pain points of this software? And then take those things out. So you can actually go and find a larger software and you can just strip out pieces that people don't really need, and then you can charge a lower price for it. And that will obviously attract a lot more customers to your software because it's exactly what they need and nothing more, because why would you pay more money to have more stuff that you don't actually need? So that's solving a pain point in itself. So the last part of market selection is probably the most important part of market selection. And like I said earlier, market selection is probably one of the most important steps. So the last part is the most important part of the most important step. So don't skip this part, but I see so many people skipping this very crucial step, and that is to verify the market. Just because you have a problem in the market, just because you found, a few people that might have a similar problem, doesn't mean that it's a scalable and sustainable business. It just means that you and a few people have a problem with something. Well, that's not what makes a business. You need to find a good majority of people that are experiencing a very similar problem. You shouldn't just go with it. You shouldn't just say, okay, I've got this idea, the market here, here's a product idea, okay, let's go. You need to reach out to people in the market, okay? In a non-annoying and non-spammy way, but just ask in groups. If you're part of Facebook groups or on forums, on Reddit, whatever, just ask people that are participating in that market if this software would actually be beneficial. So for example, what I did with Atlas is I asked in Facebook groups, hey, thinking about building a software like this, would this be beneficial to anybody? And I got a resounding yes, right? A lot of people said that they wanted to do it. So I would shoot for asking, 100 people or more. Try to get a lot of people to respond saying that that would be a good piece of software to have. Now at this point, you're not selling your product, so don't make it salesy, don't make it spammy, just genuinely be curious, because you are genuinely curious if this market and if this product is going to be a good idea. So you just want to verify it. You just want to ask people, just, very relaxed and not salesy, just genuinely asking people if they think that this particular product that you're thinking about making for this market would be a good fit. Then once you've verified the market, then we can roll into our next step, which is pre-marketing. And that's what we're going to talk about next time. We're going to talk about how to actually market your product before you even make it. So that way you know for sure it's going to sell. So I'll see you in the next video.